I ran as fast as I could. Every inch of my body was shaking. I was so scared. How could I be so stupid? How could I let this happen to myself? I ducked down in the plants, terrified. What if they caught me? What would they do to me now that I knew the truth? Just the thought of it made me want to throw up. I could see their flashlights looking for me. With shaking hands, I started to dial 911 on the phone. If something happened to me now, no one would know where I went. The phone started to ring, just as their flashlights got closer and closer. I held my breath as the 911 operator picked up. How was I going to get out of this? Every step they inched closer and closer to me. My chance of getting out of here alive seemed worse and worse. Before we get into my escape, I need to explain how I got myself into such a terrifying situation. To be honest, all I did was wake up. One morning, I opened my eyes in bed and felt a wave of panic wash over me. My head felt so fuzzy, almost like I was in a dream or something. I looked around and started to really freak out. I didn't recognize anything. Where was I? And who was I? I got out of bed and started to look around the room. Anna was in pink letters on the wall. But did I even like pink? Why didn't that name sound familiar? I felt like I was going to pass out. None of this made sense. Was I going crazy? Why couldn't I remember anything? What was my name? Was it really Anna? I bolted out the door into a strange hallway. I felt like I was on some alien planet. I had to find a phone or something. I had to call 911. Maybe someone there would be able to help me figure out what was going on. I ran into the kitchen, and that's when two people stood up. A man and a woman in their 50s both looked at me. They asked if I was okay, if I was feeling any better after hitting my head. But I didn't know these people. Why were they acting like they knew me? I shoved past them, reaching for the phone on the wall. The woman stopped me and grabbed my arm. She kept calling me Anna and told me to calm down. I freaked out, yelling at her to get her hands off of me, to leave me alone and let me go. Then she said she was my mother. But no, there's absolutely no way she could be. I would remember my own mother, wouldn't I? Even if I had hit my head? The two managed to sit me down and explain everything. Apparently, I had hit my head a few days ago and had been out cold ever since. The doctors told them to just monitor me until I woke up. I told them I didn't remember any of that I didn't know this house, that they weren't my parents. They looked so concerned, I started to feel a little embarrassed. Was there something wrong with me? Tears started to roll down my face. That's when the woman pulled out a baby book and started showing me photos of what apparently was my childhood. And I had to admit, the photos looked exactly like me. My fear started to grow. Maybe they really were my parents, and I was going crazy. Through my tears, I told them I didn't remember anything. The woman rubbed my back and told me it was okay. We would figure out what was wrong with me together. They had been so scared of losing me. They were just glad I was okay. The woman took me up to my bedroom and told me to lie down and sleep some more. Maybe when I woke up, I would feel better. I faded in and out of sleep for a few hours, stuck between weird dreams and being awake. Have you ever had a night like this? Where you feel like something in your life just isn't right? At one point, I woke up and heard talking outside my door. I crept over to try to hear what they were saying. My mother and father talked in hushed tones. My mother was concerned something was really wrong with me, that they should take me to some inpatient care. I felt a weird rush of guilt and embarrassment. They really did think I was going crazy, and they probably weren't wrong. But I didn't want to go to a facility like that. What if I went there and they really did think I was insane? Would I spend the rest of my life there? Over the next few days, I tried to put on a happy face. I was terrified of being sent away, so I had to try my hardest to get used to this life. Everything around me still felt really alien. But I thought maybe if I tried to calm down, everything would feel normal a lot sooner. My house was apparently a farm. Once I started really exploring, I started to feel a little creeped out. We were the only house for miles in either direction, all the way out in the middle of nowhere. Apparently, we had no TV, and I was homeschooled. I felt like I had memories of being in school, watching TV, but my mother explained I had gone to elementary school for years before she pulled me out for homeschooling. Honestly, I started to feel fairly comfortable. During the day, I would help on the farm. I'd take care of animals, water the garden, and help Mom cook dinner. It felt really relaxed, even though deep down, I was still having strange doubts. After a couple of days, it almost started to feel familiar. Maybe all the craziness was starting to wear off. Maybe I could be a normal person again. But that's when I found out. One night, before going to sleep, I saw something shining just at the foot of the bed, on the floor. When I picked it up, my heart stopped. It was a shiny gold necklace with a monogrammed D on it. Where could this possibly have come from? Did I have a friend I didn't remember? Had someone else been in here? And if it was mine, what was the letter for? I thought about asking my mom, but maybe it was better if I kept this as my little secret and investigated myself. A few nights later, at dinner, there was a knock at the door. My mom and dad both looked really alarmed. When they looked out front, there was a police car. Why were the police here? I was about to ask when my mom ushered me upstairs. I tried to listen as best as I could, and that's when I heard the word missing. Were they looking for a missing person? I felt a lump in my throat. Was I the missing person? Is that why I felt so out of place here? That night, I laid in bed staring at the ceiling for a long time. Maybe I was just being paranoid again. My mom had said herself I had shown signs of paranoia. And these people, they had been so nice to me. If I was really a missing person, why would they take such good care of me? Maybe if I found something to calm myself down, I would feel better. If I could just find my birth certificate or something. I tiptoed down over the stairs. I felt like I was doing something really wrong. They had taken care of me. Shouldn't I trust them? I looked through all the drawers in the house, trying desperately to find anything that would calm me down. But it's like none of our family documents were anywhere. They had to be tucked away somewhere. But where could that possibly be? I took a step in the office, and the wooden plank under me seemed to move. I lifted it up to find an entire box of documents underneath. Finally! Maybe there would be something in here that would help. When I lifted the first thing out of that box, my heart stopped. It was a school ID with the name Daria on it, and it was a photo of me, as clear as day. I couldn't breathe. I could hardly even think. Where had this come from? I looked even closer at the photo and realized I was wearing a necklace. The same necklace that I had found at the foot of my bed. My hands started to shake. I had to keep looking in the box. I had to get to the bottom of this. The next thing I pulled out was even more horrifying. It was an obituary, followed by a death certificate for a girl named Anna. She had died when I was 12 after a fall from the loft in the barn where she hit her head. I started to hyperventilate. Were they pretending that I was their daughter? Had they kidnapped me just so they could pretend Anna was still alive? I had to get out of there. I tried to put the plank back, just as I heard footsteps come down the stairs. I had to be fast. I scrambled to try and put it away, but whoever was walking definitely heard me. I bolted for the window, realizing it was my only escape. I grabbed the cell phone that was sitting on the desk and opened the window just as the woman opened the door. She froze, shocked. I told her I knew the truth. I jumped out the window and took off running. I felt like my whole body was on fire. I ran as fast as I could, but where on earth did I think I was going? There wasn't anyone for miles. I knew that, and they knew that. In the distance, I saw them both rush out of the house. I ducked into the rows of corn stalks, my heart pounding out of my chest. I had to get out of this. If something happened to me, if they got a hold of me, my real parents would have no idea what happened to me. Tears started to spill down my face as I rushed deeper and deeper into the corn. I could hear their footsteps and see their flashlights as they hurried after me. With hands shaking, I dialed 911. I had to get the police here. It was the only way I was going to be able to survive. It was really my only way out. I listened to the phone ring, holding my breath. That's when I saw the lights getting closer and closer. They were only a few feet away. If I talked to the police, surely they would hear me. The operator picked up, asking what my emergency was. I stayed silent, trying not to move. The operator asked again and again if I had an emergency. Then she asked if there was a reason I couldn't speak. If there was, I should press 1. I tried to hide the light from the phone as I pressed the button. She asked if I was in danger, and again I pressed the button. I was so afraid they would see. I was afraid I would never see my family again. The operator told me the police were on the way, and I felt a rush of relief. That's when the man found me with his flashlight. I ran as fast as I could through the corn, trying desperately to stay away. If I could just lead them to the house, maybe the police would be here by the time we got there. I couldn't even breathe anymore. The air in my lungs felt like fire. My legs felt like rubber. But this couldn't be the end. I broke out of the cornfield and found myself bathed in the red and blue light of a police car. I fell on the ground, crying as the police cuffed the man and woman. Their eyes nearly burnt a hole through me as they were put in the back of the car. The police officers ran to me, their eyes as big as an owl's. I had been missing for 3 months. They had no idea if they were ever going to find me. Once I got to the station, I was reunited with my real mother and father. It was like everything clicked for me. I still didn't remember my old life, but I felt like this was finally right. I'm working every day to get my memory back, and I did end up going to a facility where I'm getting counseling that is really helping me. Overall, I'm so happy to be home, and I wish that I'd trusted my instincts earlier.
Hi everyone, my name is Hope, and I sing like Miley Cyrus, dance like Lady Gaga, and I look prettier than Kendall Jenner. To be precise, my mom wants me to be like that. In reality, it's even hard for me to justify my name, Hope. From the age of 5, my mother forced me to be in various classes, trying to find my talent and make me a star. But within a few weeks of classes, surprise, they figured out that I wasn't that talented. And my mother pulled me from one class to another, and a month later, another. Here's a brief list of what I did until I turned 14. Dancing, music, painting, gymnastics, singing, a little figure skating, about 2 months of theater, and much more. Maybe I could have succeeded in something if my mother had just been a little more patient. After switching between a dozen classes, my mother began to get really upset. But that was around the time that TV programs for talented children came to the rescue. My mother now has a new hope that her hope can become a star. That even sounds weird. From that moment on, I attended an infinite number of castings, but I was turned down at The Voice because I don't sing well enough. I was kicked out from World of Dance because I'm a terrible dancer. And they didn't even take me to America's Got Talent because I obviously did not have talent. At some point, I had already thought that maybe I needed to change my name to Hopeless. It sounds bad, but everything would be clear right away. No expectations, no complaints. The turning point was at one of these castings. Honestly, I don't even remember what it was for. And naturally, they turned me down. But they also said that she needs to go to modeling school first. Oh, this phrase set a fire in my mother's eyes. Hope, this is exactly what you need. And the very next day, I met with new people from a modeling school. I do have to say that I did very well. Because what? I need to walk around the stage? Did you see what I was doing before? And now I just needed to walk properly? Give me a stage and I'll walk all over it. Soon, I began to participate in various beauty contests, and I liked it. More precisely, I liked the attention I received at school after these competitions. My mom was much more passionate about it. She was so worried before every contest. A week before the pageant, she would get nervous. I couldn't eat chocolate because, Hope, you won't fit into your dress. I couldn't go for a walk because, Hope, you need to spend more time preparing. And I couldn't even communicate with friends because, Hope, I want to control your life even more. Every time it was a nightmare for me and a pleasure for my mom. It was strange because in 2 years, I hadn't even won a single contest. I was just a girl who showed herself well, too. But after each pageant, my mother was radiant with joy, and for a few weeks, I could be free of her training. Winter came and the holidays began. Oh, happy vacation time! I could hang out with friends all day and have fun. I could, but only because I didn't participate in the next stupid pageant. I wanted to spend time outside, but my mother just lost her mind. I literally couldn't do anything. We fought, and I just ran out of patience. My mother shouted, "This time everything is different. This is a very important competition. They will be selecting participants for Miss State." So I shouted back, "It's always different and always very important. I haven't left the house for a week. If this is the life of a model, then I pass. Take part in this contest by yourself." I ran to my room and closed the door. But I was not going to just sit quietly at home. I got dressed, opened the window, and jumped into the snowdrift that was against the house. I was so happy to finally get out. I missed my friends so much. We were having snowball fights, rolling downhill, making snow angels. In short, I felt like a child, and I missed that. Someone bought a big sled, and we decided to ride it down the hill together. As soon as we started, I immediately felt like we were going too fast, and we had absolutely no way to brake. We were knocked off course, and we crashed into a pole. Lifting our heads, exchanging glances with each other, we began to laugh. Oh, that was awesome! This is adrenaline! Let's do it again! But when I tried to get up, I felt a terrible pain in my leg. It was as if my ankle just filled with pain, and it was so strong that I immediately began to cry. I was afraid to even look down. My friends loaded me onto the sleigh and took me to the hospital. As we drove, there were so many thoughts in my head that I could not even sift through all of them. The only clear thought was, the pageant is tomorrow. Oh damn, I have to tell my mom about this. At the hospital, they x-rayed my ankle. No fracture was found, but the doctor said that I damaged my ligaments, that my leg should be cast, and that I needed to rest. Mom came into the office at the exact moment that they were putting the cast on me. She was not just upset, she was broken. It seemed to me that she was disappointed in life. We drove home in silence. Mom fed me and helped me to get to my room. I heard her cry later. Stupid sleighs, why did I have to go sledding right before the contest? I felt guilty, and I was very ashamed. I wanted to redeem myself and call my girlfriends to get them to help me think of a plan. We thought and planned for a long time. In the evening, I announced to my mother, we're going to participate in the pageant tomorrow. End of discussion. This revived my mom a little, but she was skeptical and more worried about my leg. But I was unstoppable. During the night, we remade my dress so that it completely covered my legs, and we also figured out the rest of the contest. On the day of the competition, it was the first time that I had ever felt so confident because I clearly knew what I was going to do. Besides, I really wanted to make my mother happy. We got it through. I came out during the introduction of participants without crutches, but with the help of two guys in cool suits. It immediately drew attention to me. I was taken to the talent competition on a sleigh, and I sang a cheerful song about winter. Isn't that ironic? And only on the final to file, when I put on a little black dress, did everyone see my leg was in a cast. How can you even look at the other participants when there's a girl on stage on crutches? I felt like all eyes were glued on me. I was shining. Never before have I felt so light and comfortable on stage. Then the time finally came for the results. Unfortunately, I didn't win the contest, but I was given the Audience Choice Award, and I received a standing ovation. I didn't need this crown. I already felt like a queen. It was my biggest success out of any of those contests. After returning home, my mother and I just glowed with happiness. Then we talked and came to a compromise. If I hadn't run away, all of this wouldn't have happened, and today I became Miss Loser again. But if my mother didn't force me to prepare, then I wouldn't have been able to organize myself. We agreed to find a balance where we'll both be happy. What did you do as a child? Was it your choice, or did your parents make it for you? Tell us in the comments below. And be sure to share this story with your friends.